So, you're planning a stay in Dhaka, and you've probably hit that first big decision. Should you book an Airbnb, or is a service department the way to go? Well, today we're going to break down what you really need to know to make the right call.
Okay, so let's get right into it. On the surface, they look pretty similar, right? Both give you a furnished place that's way more flexible than a hotel. But the actual experience of living there day to day, oh, that can be a completely different story.
To help you figure this out, we're going to look at 5 key things. First, we'll talk about the Dhaka dilemma. Then, we'll go beyond that nightly rate you see online. We'll compare the gamble versus the guarantee, talk about daily living and support, and finally, help you figure out which one is the right choice for your trip. Right, so this is the thing. Whether you're looking in Gulshan, Bashundhara, or Dhanmondi, those online photos can look amazing, but the reality on the ground, what it's actually like to live there, can be worlds apart from what you see in the listing.
Let's start with the one thing everyone looks at first, and honestly, the most misleading part of the whole comparison, the cost. And this is just so important to remember. It's what I call the price trap. That really attractive nightly rate you see advertised, yeah, that's almost never the final price you end up paying.
And here's why, in a nutshell. An Airbnb shows you an advertised rate, which is just a starting point. A service department, on the other hand, usually gives you an all-inclusive rate. One is the starting line, the other is the finish line.
So, where does all that extra cost come from with an Airbnb? Well, you've got cleaning fees tacked on, then the platform itself takes its service charge, and sometimes you even have to pay for utilities separately. You can see how that low price suddenly isn't so low anymore.
All right, moving on from the money, let's talk about something just as critical, consistency. Because what you book online is not always what you get when you walk through that door.
Let's just be real about this. Booking an Airbnb in Dhaka can be a total gamble. You might find an amazing, modern, super clean apartment. Or you could end up in a place that feels pretty neglected and worn out. It's a complete roll of the dice. This table really lays out the differences perfectly. With Airbnb, the cost looks cheaper, but then you've got separate bills, cleaning isn't always regular, and all your support comes from just one person, the host. Compare that to a service department, the cost is fixed, bills are included, you get routine housekeeping, and there's a dedicated staff. It's all about a predictable, standard experience.
So, let's talk about the day-to-day stuff. I mean, this is more than just a place to sleep, right? It's about feeling safe, being comfortable, and having backup when, and let's be honest, it's when, not if, things go wrong.
Now, this is a big one, especially if you're traveling with family or staying for a while. With an Airbnb, security really just depends on the building it's in. Some are great, some have, well, almost no oversight. Service departments, though, usually have much more structured control. We're talking strict entry systems and on-site guards. That's a huge difference for your peace of mind. And then you have all the little things that actually make a place livable. An Airbnb can feel a bit improvised. You might be missing basic stuff in the kitchen, find that half the closets are locked for the owner's things, or realize the furniture just isn't practical for actually living in. So let's imagine this. It's a hot Dhaka afternoon and the AC gives out. Or your internet just crawls to a stop. What happens next? This is the real test. And the process for getting help couldn't be more different. For an Airbnb, you text the host, and then you wait. With a service department, you call reception, and a maintenance person is on their way. That little difference feels absolutely huge when you're the one stuck waiting for a fix. Okay, so we've looked at cost, consistency, and support. With all of that in mind, how do you actually decide? Let's break it down into a simple guide so you can pick the right option for your trip. An Airbnb is probably your best bet if you're only in town for a short time, you really want maximum flexibility in where you stay, and this is the key, you don't mind a little bit of uncertainty about the final cost and the whole experience. But you should probably go for a service department if you're staying for more than a few weeks, if you're on a work trip and you just need things to be stable and reliable, or if you simply want a smooth, hassle-free stay with no surprises. So here's the bottom line. This decision isn't really about finding the cheapest rate. It's about deciding what level of friction you're okay with. It's about choosing how smoothly you want your entire stay to go. Because in a city like Dhaka, that kind of reliability can be priceless.
We've based this explainer on information from sources like banglamart.com and hotels.com BD. The source material also mentioned that for service departments in the Bashundhara area specifically, you can get more details by calling +880 1711 993377 or by checking out hotels.com BD. Thanks for tuning in for this breakdown.